Hey everybody, Ty here, Small Acre Hunting Podcast. On this episode, I'm going to tackle the topic of what to do or what not to do if you are like me and you do not have a target buck. A lot of people are asking me, Ty, what is different this year with you not having seemingly any bucks to chase? You might be shocked at how little it does change, but I want to talk about some very specific things that I think a lot of guys need to keep in mind if you're like me and you just don't have a target buck right now. That and a little bit more on this episode of the Small Acre Hunting Podcast. All right.
For the first time in a blood tracking job, I was more valuable.
Yep.
We've got to stop with this idiotic and ignorant stance of, oh, it ain't worth doing these little things or whatever. That's great for you people with thousands of acres, thousands of dollars, huge equipment, tractors that cost more than my 23 acres did. But I'm sorry, you're ignorant. Gas, sweat, and a chainsaw can do a lot of work.
All right, welcome back. If you're watching the YouTube version of the podcast, you got to watch a little bit of a montage. I'm working on that. I don't quite know how I feel about it. If you want, in the comments, let me know if you like it, if you don't like it, if it's well done, not well done. Your criticism probably isn't going to change what I do, but it's always appreciated, any constructive thoughts that you might have. If you are listening to the audio version of this, I believe I still have the insert audio. Everything kind of changed with the audio being lost. Basically, my whole last system, I did not save and map out the structure of where a lot of my things were being saved. And anybody who's in editing knows the pathways of working files is necessary to continue those. So I think I made the mistake. I know I did on my intro video, at least, that I didn't save everything and it's not mapped the same. So when I launch the working file to do videos, everything can't be located. So I'm having to redo the intro. I want to do some overlays and some more talking and possibly some other stuff, but it's a work in progress. I figured I'd share what I have, and it may change, it may not. I may not do it. I don't know. Audio-wise, I believe I still was able to locate the last one. If not, we're here. It doesn't matter, really. So let's get this episode started. One of the things that shockingly everybody keeps asking me about that comes across, they want to know a few things like, Ty, what do you use to film your own hunts? I've been blessed to get a few of my hunts on camera, and I feel like for a amateur, they were decent. Last year, if I had shot at that giant buck, you probably would have seen some of my best videography work. I got a lot of really good footage of that deer. Some of it's in the intro that you saw, and who knows, maybe if I have time, I'll throw some up right now for you on YouTube that are watching. Just a gorgeous deer. Unfortunately, I will not be chasing him this year because he died. A neighboring hunter got a hold of him, and as far as I know, ethical, legal kill. So enough on that. But people want to know the gear and such that I'm using. So I figured I'd just grab a few things that I really liked and appreciated this year that I'm trying for the first time, or a product that I have been using for a while, and go over it. Try to mix this in every now and then. If you're watching on the YouTube, you see that I am holding the Mathews Grip System Bond. This is the Bond system. The Bond Grip System is something that I am sorry, Mathews, one of the reasons why it took so long for me to go back to Mathews, and when I say back, I used a Mission because I couldn't afford a real Mathews for a while, and then I got my Elite 32, which this Lift X, this 29.5 Lift X that I'm shooting right now, is the most, I will say it is competing well with the Elite 32 as far as what feels like just part of my body. That bow, the Elite 32, the grip, the draw, everything just felt like part of my body. No other bow has ever felt that way. My V3, I just never could feel like it fit me. But the grip system was part of that factor. There was really not many options in Mathews unless you went into the aftermarket, and I wasn't always a big fan of those. The Bond system allows you to get a lot of different grips, so I understand a little bit of an expensive thing. Anything with Mathews on it is expensive. I get that. So for you archery hunters out there that want maybe a gear advice or gear product that is not extremely expensive, might I introduce you to, I have become a fan of the Redline series of stuff. I had a Redline quiver on my V3 that is no longer. It went with it when I sold it. I had a Redline sight on that as well. I've had great luck. My new Lift X has a Redline 3-pin hybrid sight. I don't remember the brand or model, or else I would say it, but what I'm holding here is actually the box for the Guru Rest, powered by AAE. This is the exact same rest, essentially American made, as, what's the name of that one? I'm going to put it up on the screen. Just a insanely good rest. The only thing that I don't like about it is you do have to cock, in essence, the rest up every time. That's something that it took me a while to get used to it, but now it's second nature and it's not a big deal, and it won't be an issue up the stand. This thing is dynamite, built to last, rock solid. And I don't even remember the price of this, but I want to say it may have even been less. Was it less than 100? Redline Guru Rest. I'm just looking it up live. It's at $99.99. The Redline Guru Rest by AAE. So go check it out. Incredible rest. And then many people are curious for filming their own hunts. Audio is a massive part of the hunt. And I have learned, I will say, it's not as crucial as getting good footage, getting good shots on camera. I would say that is the most pivotal and most valuable. If your audio goes and you have good video, you can always overlay audio. But having that feel of being there and hearing things. I used to use a shotgun mic. I will say, from picking up leaves rustling and wind and just really honing in on stuff, I really like that. The last couple years, I have actually ran my shotgun mic, basically took a kaput, and I didn't replace it. And instead, I've been using these Comica Boom XD Pros, essentially. I have two of these, and there's a receiver that's actually on the camera that runs into the audio on my camera. But these are just amazing quality for the price. Again, they're not the lowest and they're not the highest. I believe even Comica has a step above this, but they come with a windscreen that you can take on and off here if you wish. But, you know, these are incredible. You can clip one to the camera itself, and it'll kind of pick up stuff around it. And they're two-way channels, so like I can have both of these routed in. I can be wearing the other one on me. That way when you're up the stand and you're doing those whisper things, it picks up pretty well what you're whispering, and it's not this like really abrupt type thing. So I'm actually filming this and recording this with one of these hooked onto this microphone. I always do a double recording. That way, if anything happens to one audio file when recording the podcast, I can do this. So look them up, Comica Boom XD Pros. There's a lot of different options. I have one I have some lav mics that have basically the receiver that goes into your phone. You've probably seen me wear those. They're a little bit cheaper. I think I bought one of those for like $40, $50 on Amazon. I keep them charged. Those are really great for when you're using your phone to shoot footage. You have to be really careful. Sometimes the audio is not the cleanest and there's no way to monitor it. If these are clipping, I can actually see it on my camera. But yeah, those are just a few things. I will try to bring some more information on, some of the gear that I use, some of the stuff that I think has really assisted me. I will say a bonus device, and I've already shared this before, but if you're getting into self-filming and you already have a high definition camera, maybe you don't have a 4K camera, but you have a high definition camera, I think one of the best ways to upgrade your filming is to get a 360 camera. Insta360 has some amazing options, whether you get the Insta360 with the 1-inch sensor like GoPro style body, or you get the X3 or 4. I think they even have an X5 now. Just being able to have that 360, you can just mount those over your head at like an angle, and you can get shots behind the tree, to the right, to the left, filming you execute the shot in like in a third person type setting. Just incredible options. Hook an external battery pack to those and turn them on, and you don't even, if you have a big enough card, you don't even have to worry about them. I try to run a card in there that's big enough to where the last 2 hours of the hunt, I can just have that thing running. And as long as it's not in the direct sun and it's not crazy hot, it works. But apologies, we got talking about gear. I could do that for a while. To execute the question or the posed discussion of the podcast, how does not having a target buck change how I'm attacking the season, change my hunting? How should it be? So let's talk about 5 things, and maybe I'll throw a bonus 6th thing in that I recommend. If you're like me, incredibly atypical year, rough year, you just don't have bucks, or you're stressing. Maybe you're the type of guy that puts cameras out in July, August, you had a couple bucks, and then now there's nothing and you're freaking out. I will say, don't freak out. It's acorn time right now. If your cameras are not on oak flats or bedding to oak flat orientation, there's a chance you're just not seeing the bucks that are actually there. I know that's not my issue. This year is just completely blown apart with a homeless encampment off my property, neighbor building directly by a bedding area, disturbances just everywhere. It just wasn't a good year. The does have flooded back to the property. They did months ago. They got kind of used to the disturbance. And so I'm hopeful it's still going to be good. And that brings me to my first point, and that is don't change your hunt. And what I mean by that is don't change the way in which you're going to go about hunting your property. Now, there's 2 different camps, and I'm hoping to have my good friend Andrew on sometime, because they are not, and I say they because him and his family, his boys, they hunt a lot. The kids more than Andrew anymore. And a lot of what he did habitat-wise was to set up for this day when he's kind of like handing the reins over, if you will, the hunting to his kiddos. And he is a blood tracker. He's got an amazing dog, Sarge. So I want to talk about that and everything. But there's 2 ways. I would say don't change how you hunt normally. Go about your season the exact same way, because you're going to learn things about your property still. I'm not going to change how I hunt unless a big buck starts showing up and it's a buck I'm familiar with. I have historical data to go off of. If it's a completely new buck and I have no historical data connection or whatever to it, and I don't have justification to push in, I'm not going to. I typically don't like to hunt my property unless a lot of things align until about, that 3rd week of October. And then I might start hunting really hard. And that has backfired on me some years. I remember one year, I don't remember what year it was, so forgive me, but my best and easiest places to hunt my property is with east or south winds as far as entrance and exit. Disturbance of the property is the lowest on those winds. So I had a lot of those winds, I remember in October, the first 2 weeks or so, and I didn't hunt. And I didn't run cell cameras at that time. And if I had went in and hunted, I would have killed some amazing bucks. I remember High Rise was one of them, a buck that I've had on my hit list since like 2017, 2018. Those of you who are listening and have watched and seen pictures of High Rise over the years, you're very familiar with that buck. It's been years, and he really is that old. Had pictures of him this spring, and he's either a 9 or 10-year-old. Apologies, had to take a sip of my coffee. But I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to hunt stupid, and I'm not going to just not hunt. I'm going to hunt and continue to hunt the way that I usually do, unless variables change and things occur that cause me to get aggressive or get passive. I think that's the biggest thing. Guys just kind of throw caution to the wind or just change everything up. They're just like, I'm just going to change. I'm not going to trust my instincts, trust my judgment. Now, if you're a brand new hunter, maybe there's some justification for that. I don't know. But don't change your hunt or how you hunt. The second thing is embrace the unknown. This is really the first year that October 1st is probably going to come. And on that day, I will have not gotten a picture of a buck that I am for sure adamant about shooting, which is insane. It really is. I've never had a year like that, really. Now, I will say there is a no-doubter on Pops' property, which I have full permission to hunt, but we really kind of we kind of hunt as one. So it's like, I probably won't go down there unless I've already exhausted or conditions aren't right, but it's go time. From like October 24th through November 24th, we'll hunt wherever the best odds are. So say there's a west wind, my place has been dead, he's not going to hunt his, he's got a really good west stand and the bucks are moving over there, I'm going to go there. You could switch those things, and he doesn't really have a good east wind stand and the deer aren't moving well, but I do, and I can't hunt my place, he'll go hunt my east wind stand. So we hunt as one in that sense. But give me just a second. Ooh. Sorry about that. Getting over an illness, and I needed to clear my throat and drink some more coffee, I guess. But embrace the unknown. I've talked about this before. Too often we get kind of into a habitual type hunting where we're not willing to change. We're not willing to, we hunt what we know. We do what we know. And I know this might sound contradictory to the first thing, but embrace the unknown and the mystery in that. I am looking forward to potentially being surprised when I'm hunting this year with a buck that I'm willing to shoot walk up, or just kind of sitting there with no expectations is kind of freeing. It kind of takes the weight off the season a little bit. So I would keep that in mind. Embrace the unknown, embrace the journey of this season, and just enjoy it for what it is. Don't focus on what it isn't. You're just going to get into a negative mindset, and you're not going to enjoy the season regardless. Number 3, explore properties. Get out there. Go to public land. I might be going to Michigan public land. I've thought about even buzzing over to Ohio. I doubt I do, just because I don't want to buy another out-of-state tag. I have a Michigan license because I thought a Michigan spot was going to happen. It didn't. So I have a tag, and I spent money on it. So even if I go up there and just shoot a 2-year-old buck or a doe on public, I'm going to embrace it. Go explore properties, learn properties. If you've got a couple properties that you picked up permission-wise that you don't know very well, and you're not sure kind of how the deer are moving, well, go out there and hunt it. Shoot, if you don't know or have any expectations at all, really delve into them and document. Create a little bit of knowledge on that property that otherwise you wouldn't if you were focused on another one, if you were focused on a big buck, if you're focused on a few targets. Number 4, and this one, again, these are in no specific order, but if I was ranking these, if you truly don't have a buck that you're willing to tag, that you know of, it's not the rut yet, and you know, no cruising surprises might happen. Number 4 is a big thing, and it is enjoy the family. If you're married, enjoy time with your family. this fall is not a normal fall all the time. There are going to be years where you are fully consumed, depending on the level of the bucks or the quality of the bucks that are on your property, that you will just naturally find an excuse to hunt more. They'll steal a little bit more of your time. And who knows, maybe God's giving you a year, quote unquote, off to an extent because he wants you to spend more time with your family. He wants you to, maybe you're not married or have kids, but you're in a pretty serious relationship and you haven't really been the man or the woman, if you happen to be a lady listening, that you know you ought to be. Maybe he's calling you to get closer to him, be involved in your church more, spend time with your family more. There is incredible value in that, well beyond anything that the woods or the deer or anything is going to give you. So really, really consider enjoying time with the family more. I vowed that as long as my son wants to be part of Halloween and wear a costume, I will not hunt on Halloween or trick-or-treat night. I might hunt on Halloween depending when we're doing his trick-or-treat thing. And I'm not even a Halloween guy. It's fun to spend time with him. He gets a blast out of dressing in a costume. So I'm going to do it, but I might do a little bit more things. Maybe we'll do some more fall trips. We'll do some more corn maze visits and such. Maybe go to a few different places just because I can. And it sounds bad, but a few falls like this or spending time in that, you're probably going to realign your priorities a little bit more. And that's going to be a good thing. So this season could actually make you a much better person, a much better father, husband, friend, brother, whatever it might be. You may, in the end of this, when December 31st rolls around and you're sitting there pondering, the fall and the season, you may have a few days left, but you might have to revisit your negative outlook at this time. And you may by then realize a lot of the positives that have occurred because of not having any real target buck to chase. Number 5, harvest does. Have fun harvesting does. As long as you got a decent amount of deer and they're not very, very low numbers or you had EHD rip through, harvest some does. Find a buddy who needs does taken. Offer up your services to, now you have to be careful with this. And I cannot stress this enough. Never take offense if you offer to shoot does for somebody and they say no. But also understand, if you offer to go in and hunt does, make it very clear to them that all you are doing is hunting does. That is your goal. I have a friend who, he's going to have to push me really hard while I'm helping him kill does. He needs does taken off. And I know he would not be mad if I arrowed a mature buck on his property. But I personally know his goals are so oriented towards the management of the deer herd, and he needs to get does out. And he needs to get a lot of does out. So I'm going to be going and helping him. I'm going to enjoy harvesting does over there. Hopefully I can help him out. But I'm kind of treating it as an earn a buck, where I've got to shoot at least one of those 2 does that I want to get for him, if not more, before I maybe shoot a late season buck or something over there. But those 5 things: don't change how you hunt, embrace the unknown, explore properties either new to you or newer to you or unknown to you that you have permission to be on, enjoy the family, enjoy your calling, and harvest does. Those are 5 things that I think everybody needs to consider if you're like me and you don't have any bucks to really chase. And you find yourself, maybe I'll shoot a 3-year-old this year. Maybe is that buck 3? He looks like it. If you're trying to convince yourself of a couple deer to shoot. And I'll throw out a 6th one, and it's kind of tied to harvesting does for either yourself or other people. We live in an era where deer management and buck management is, in my opinion, at an all-time high. You have guys out there that are protecting bucks from, they identify 1 or 2 bucks that are 2 years old and they are no-goes. Nobody's allowed to shoot them. They protect those deer for 2 to 3 years. And they take it to the extreme because they can. their situation, their property layout, their property size. They have to target bucks that they themselves don't want to kill. They've got to try to get them off the property. And it is a really, and I know this from talking to guys that do this, it is extremely hard to do that because you have to identify people that you, number one, trust, are going to come in, and if that 160-inch 3-year-old walks by, they're not going to shoot him because your friendship and your word with that person means more to them than harvesting that buck. There are a lot of people that have ruined friendships, thrown everything out the door just to shoot a big buck when they came in specifically to shoot a few different deer. So, you know, if your buddy has a 5-year-old buck that's just never grown and he's a 100-inch 8-pointer, or maybe he's a really big 6, you know, whatever it might be, and you're willing to offer up your services, go out there and offer, hey, I will call specific bucks. Give me 1 or 2. Let's talk about them. Let's have pictures of them. And if I can properly identify and I can go out there and help you, put some venison in my cooler, take down a mature deer, which is always fun, even if its rack's not huge, in my opinion, do that. I know I have a couple friends that, you know, if they called and said, hey, would you be willing to buy a Illinois tag or Ohio tag or a Kentucky tag and come down and maybe hunt 2 to 3 days and try to specifically take out this mature buck, I would for sure do that, especially this year when I just don't have anything else. So that's another option out there. But you got to have, one, you have to be a man of high integrity, high character, who knows without a shadow of a doubt you would not succumb to shooting a deer you're not supposed to. And if you don't think you can do that, do not do that option. But hey, everybody, this went on a little bit longer than I wanted because I talked about all the gear at the beginning. But I just wanted to hopefully encourage you to think about this. Do not be the doom and gloom type guy that I would be in the past when I remember there were years where I had like 1 buck and that was the only buck that I really wanted. And it was a really low number year. And, you know, I've already said I'm the top 10, 15% of the bucks in my area. So I usually have 2 to 3 to chase. And to be fair, this year, I do know of some bucks that survived last year. I had their photos in February, March. So unless an act of God or a poacher got them, I have some bucks like Baynor, High Rise. There was a 10-pointer last year that was running around that was pretty young. There was another good 8 that was young. They could all make their circle back. And I actually think the 8 is back, but he didn't really grow much. So he's either a 3 or a 4-year-old this year, most likely. And who knows? Maybe I'll sling an arrow at him. If I do, you'll see it most likely. But love you all. Appreciate you all. As always, God bless and good luck out there.